reminder before we start this video that we are hosting a giveaway on my Discord this week to celebrate my turning 21. So if you are interested in entering into the draw to win one of two $25 Steam gift cards, all you have to do to enter is be a subscriber, come join my Discord, link in the description, and follow the instructions in the giveaways channel there. The winner will be announced on Saturday the 26th, so get those entries in quick, lads. Good afternoon, you wee bastards. Yeah, I kept it, didn't I? My name is Scottish Koala, and today we're just going to quickly talk about some of the reasons why Gaijin has recently come out and outright said no to further extending War Thunder's aircraft trees into a rank 6. The footage you're seeing in the background is from Gallonmate's F-100 Super Sabre model, which you can find a link to in the video description, as well as an annotation on screen to the video I just made on this beautiful user model. Here, on the other hand, we're not talking so much about the Hun itself, but rather the armament it can be found sporting. Now, these modelled missiles are AIM-9 Sidewinders. I'm not going to go into the history or the statistics of them, you can go check that out for yourself, but in-game, the limitations of the creation kit have meant that these missiles can track from any distance and any direction, and the AI targets have no flare or chaff ability. I did find several times that aircraft were able to evade these missiles, however that seemed to be an issue with the missiles themselves glitching out and randomly failing to track rather than something that is supposed to happen. Now, it's obvious that any rank 6 jet fighter aircraft would be armed with at least some form of air-to-air missiles and likely travel at speeds of well over Mach 1. I managed to get the F-100 Super Sabre up to Mach 1.58 in testing, and I can tell you with absolute certainty that dogfights at these airspeeds without air-to-air missiles would simply not be practical. Add to that the fact that people have asked repeatedly for not just the F-100 Super Sabre to be added, along with its contemporaries of course, such as the MiG-19 Farmer, but from Mach 2 plus capable aircraft such as the F-4 Phantom, MiG-21, Bach Lightning or Mirage 3, along with other aircraft such as the A-10 Thunderbolt or Su-25 Frogfoot that sport massive ordnance loadouts of various air-to-air and air-to-surface missiles, guided bombs, and particularly nuclear armament. These different aircraft and their armaments all bring their own problems to the table, and like I said, simply taking away the missiles and other currently unbalanceable armament types and expecting aircraft capable of Mach 1.5 all the way to Mach 2.4 in level flight to engage each other with inboard armament alone is not practical and would definitely not be enjoyable. Recently, Gaijin has done internal tests with these types of aircraft and stated in a Q&A that while, quote, the 6th rank and top tier aircraft aren't actually that difficult to implement, that the early guided missiles weren't that effective and won't change the flow of a match, and that it doesn't make War Thunder a completely new game that is completely different, but you have to understand that if we just introduce the F-100 and MiG-19 Farmer, it'll make War Thunder a game all about duels, and we don't want that at all. There are more than two nations, we have bombers and other types of aircraft. That might look fairly easy, and actually it is, to implement two aircraft that can fight each other on even terms. But we need to make it interesting for all countries, to make it balanced, and to make it possible for bombers to play with them. Early missile systems weren't that effective against other fighter aircraft, but were very effective against bomber aircraft. We want it to be a whole new level in both aviation and gameplay, not just an attention grabber in the form of two supersonic jets and their missiles." End quote. Whew. So, what this is saying is that the current testing of rank 6 has proven that the only real usable aircraft that could be added are fighters with air-to-air missiles and anti-missile systems, because everything else would just be cannon fodder, or missile fodder. Bombers that could be added, such as the B-52 or Tu-95, would never be able to serve their role unless the game were fundamentally changed. This is seen as unfair, and I very much disagree. This game, in aerialistic battles at least, is all about fighter v fighter combat. Sure, there are bombers and ground attackers all throughout the tiers, but they are all cannon fodder already, and nobody really cares too much whether bomber pilots have their way, as they simply ruin the flow of skill-based combat from a deathmatch perspective, which is essentially what the game is. Matches are rarely, if ever, won by objective. There's only a few maps where that's even really feasible, and only at rank 4 and 5 where bomber aircraft can actually take out the bomb targets without having to RTB, or they're jet bombers that can actually survive the return trip. So, having established that fighters are the only real match winners 99 times out of 100, no pun intended, every bomber on your team is effectively just -1 player compared to the enemy team. This is a flaw to do with the game itself and needs to be reworked. I've spoken about this in detail before, I'll refer you to some other videos I've made, but I really wouldn't care if bombers weren't seen at rank 6 RRB, and I don't think too many other players would. They're bombers, who cares? Another of Gaijin's reasons is that ground attackers and bombers that would feasibly be added to rank 6 could potentially ruin tank battles, and this is once again something that could be fixed by having rank 6 based solely on fighter v fighter combat rather than the dynamic and somewhat more realistic warfare that features bombers and ground attackers playing, in Gaijin's mind at least, equal roles. There's also another thing to think about as far as that train of thought goes. We now have radar equipped and have been confirmed to be getting missile equipped anti-air vehicles. Perhaps these exceedingly powerful close air support aircraft would be balanced against the improved anti-air abilities of rank 6 to possibly one day even rank 7 ground forces teams. Bombers usually aren't a threat to tanks on the ground anyway, and I don't see B-52s and Tu-95s changing that up if they were added in amongst rank 6, and they'd be great for use in simulator battles and enduring conflicts. I mean, imagine sitting in the cockpit of a B-52 in War Thunder Sim. But once again, you could just not add them. I see no harm in a single tier of aircraft only containing fighters. If you want bomber gameplay, go jump in a B-17 or Heinkel 111. Not only that, but while the MiG-19 Farmer and F-100 Super Sabre may be easy enough to balance against each other, what would other nations receive? The Hunter F-6 for Britain maybe? Not quite on par. What about Germany? The Panavia Tornado was used by Germany, but it would be far more powerful than the F-100 and MiG-19, more on the level of the F-5 Tiger and MiG-23 Flogger. The same is true for the British Bach Lightning. While there are some other possibilities that can be argued for, they'd be much less balanced, and so the game wouldn't be fair for many of the nations besides America and Russia. We haven't even talked about Japan or Italy yet. So while that quote from earlier may make it sound as if Gaijin does want to add a rank 6 for aircraft, for now they've left us with this tweet stating, "We have decided not to pursue supersonic jet development as of now and focus on more suitable content for our game. This includes more modern tanks, naval forces, Italian tanks, as well as possibly a universal tech tree with vehicles from all different nations from Poland to Yugoslavia, as well as the somewhat recently confirmed helicopters." So lads, that is it for this video talking about Gaijin's stance on air-to-air equipped rank 6 supersonic jet fighters. Please leave your thoughts on all this news in the comment section below, but before we finish, I have another idea for rank 6, which I'll have to put in another video. I did after all say this one would be quick. In that video, I'll talk about the Sabre Dog, the Mysteri 4, and other transonic aircraft that could feasibly fight each other without missiles. I, of course, haven't made that video yet, but if you're watching this a few weeks in the future, I'm sure there'll be a link on your screen right now, as well as in the video description. Please leave a like and subscribe if you enjoyed. Come join me over on Twitch, Twitter, Discord, and all the rest, links below. Don't forget to come join this giveaway before it ends, and as always, I will see you next video. Good afternoon, you wee bastards, and welcome back to some more War Thunder with Koala. Today is the 22nd of May, 2019, and we are checking out the dev server for War Thunder's update 1.93. Welcome to the F-100 Super Sabre. Oh, lads, if you can't tell, I am excited. I am so excited to try this thing out. Ladies and gentlemen, the North American F-100 Super Sabre made by Gallonmate. You guys should all go check him out on War Thunder Live. I will leave